It is great to be back together, all of us. Last time we were together for the Press Gallery dinner, it was in 2019, precisely on May the 4th. So we came up with a Star Wars theme that I think everyone appreciated. This year, we were brainstorming for a theme, and I noticed we were only 9 days before Halloween. But Katie said, absolutely not. Sérieusement, ce soir, c'est un moment pour nous de rassembler après quelques années difficiles. Chacun à notre manière, on travaille tous fort pour garder notre démocratie en santé. Le monde fait face à bien des défis et c'est bon de pouvoir être ensemble pour s'amuser, pour rire un peu les uns les autres. Et c'est vraiment bien de voir tout le monde ici ce soir. Ben, presque tout le monde. Il y a quelqu'un qui ne s'est pas présenté. Il a dû penser que c'était une conférence de presse. We all know he's too busy staying up late, tweaking his YouTube algorithms. But if you wanted him to come, you just should have told him you were occupying the museum, and he would have shown up with Timbits. But let us remember, the past couple of years have been tough. Many fun events like tonight were canceled. But once people got vaccinated, things started picking up again. Winterlude was really awesome this year. They had a hot tub. When the Conservative Party looked at the Ottawa occupation, they thought, this is an expression of righteous anger, and we must support them. But Liberals, we looked at a group of people with a written agreement to overthrow the government, and we said, great idea, get Jagmeet on the phone. On a vécu tellement de choses récemment que c'est difficile de tout couvrir. C'est comme les chefs du Parti conservateur. Il y en a tellement eu dans les dernières années qu'on oublie les détails. It's true. How many Canadians have already forgotten that Murphy Brown was once leader of the Conservative Party? Yeah, millennials, you'll have to look that one up. Aaron O'Toole loved his porta potty until a bunch of people showed up on the hill with porta potties and flushed them. Andrew Scheer went from being Speaker to Leader of the Opposition to now House Leader. The irony for him is being House Leader is the only one that actually doesn't come with a house. Look, it's not an easy job being leader. I myself spent a lot of time this year surrounded by honking and wailing. I don't know what their deal was, but the geese and loons at Harrington just wouldn't shut up. It's hard for a guy to get any work done. It's not all bad, though. I have a lot of fans. Some of them even redesigned the Canadian flag with my name on it. Vous savez, quand on prépare ce discours annuel, on pense aux chefs des autres partis. On dresse la liste de ce qu'ils ont accompli d'important ou de ce qu'ils ont dit de marquant au cours de l'année. Ce soir, il n'y a donc pas de joke sur Yves-François. We now have a new leader of the official opposition. I know most of you haven't had a chance to see him in person yet. I think we can all agree that it's David Aiken's fault that he didn't show up tonight. Although you'd think that Poilievre would have a thicker skin. He grew up in Alberta in the 80s with the name Pierre. But Pierre let me know he really does feel bad that he couldn't make it tonight. So as a consolation, he told me to tell you to look under your seats. Yes? You're a shadow critic, and you're a shadow critic, and you're a shadow critic, and you, and you, and you. No, sorry, not you, Michelle. Now, some of the people who weren't sold on Pierre are now putting their money on him. Charest, Mulrooney, Deltel, and others, they all think that they're now betting on the right horse. They expound upon the extent of his parliamentary experience. I mean, he's been an MP since he was 25. But as Brian himself once pointed out, there's no horse like an old horse. But even as someone who's been part of the Ottawa political elite for 20 years now, Pierre has made a few mistakes. He suggested you could opt out of inflation by investing in Bitcoin. Talk about attacks on the media. The entire cast of Sun columnists lost their life savings. Seriously though, Pierre, you've got to take inflation more seriously. That Bitcoin thing was really bad advice. I mean, shouldn't at least one of the two of us be thinking about monetary policy? Speaking of buying the dip, you probably saw in the news that I jumped off the highest drop in Canada, which turns out wasn't my approval rating since 2015. But I have to admit, I have learned a lot since 2015. Now, instead of having to apologize and take responsibility for whatever it is whenever something goes wrong, I adopted new approaches. Because yes, the summer had its ups and downs, and not just the bungee jump. We all remember my scandal at the Finnish Embassy. Oh, actually, no, you don't remember that, because I got my hair cut that weekend. A lot of us experimented with new hairstyles over the past few years. For example, I grew a beard. But when it started to go gray, I had to shave to make sure I was getting enough airtime on CTV. Seriously though, I don't know why the Conservative Party is so obsessed with my hair. It started in 2015 with that ad, remember? And now this. Inflation and mullets. That is. We've all had a bit of a hangover from the pandemic. Of course, supply chain snarls and global inflation are hitting people hard. So we apologize if the meat was tough tonight or if you chip a tooth on a bread roll. But I swear we will eventually have a dental plan for you at some point. Jigmeat, we really got to sit down and figure something out. I know. But in seriousness, Jigmeat, if we can't get this done quickly enough, I promise we'll go with your original idea, which is just chucking toothbrushes out of airplanes. As I think about it, the last time I was on stage, I was in a hotel in London. And I gotta tell you, just like with Jigmeat, it always costs me more than I expect when I agree to sing. Come on, I needed at least one good dad joke in there. I'm 50. I think the lesson here is that it's important that we all work together. To our Green Party colleagues, we're excited to see what's next for you as you choose a new leader, or leaders, actually. Bold choice for a party that's been ripping itself apart. But I know you've got it all figured out. This time, both leaders will be Elizabeth May. In any case, we need it to work out because our environment is facing a huge number of challenges. Climate change, biodiversity loss, resource shortage, Doug Ford eating bees. Actually, speaking of waspy things, last summer, Pierre told his pal Jordan Peterson that he's a, quote, believer in using simple Anglo-Saxon words. I know. I didn't get it either, but I'm told it sounds much better in the original German. I am willing to recognize that we Liberals need to up our comms game. We're so hung up on policy that we forget to come up with catchy slogans and taglines. So why not learn from the best and try to offer a few Trump-style nicknames for you tonight? Dangerous Dale Smith, Hecklin Aiken, Evan Artsy Solomon. I know you'll be curating great content in your new job. Everybody already knows Bob Fife's nickname. It's just that I use different words that they won't let me say tonight. David Nova Scotia Cochrane, as he keeps telling us, he's from Nova Scotia. Tylenol Tondra. Her questions hurt my brain. Buzz Buzetti, parce qu'elle me pique régulièrement avec ses questions. Louis Poussin Blouin. Il nous fait toujours un peu marcher sur des coquilles d'œufs. Et pour ceux qui ne la pognent pas, là, vous lui ferez parler de son élevage de poules après le souper. Five Eyes Stevenson. I actually want to let Mercedes know that the next intelligence briefing is Tuesday at 9:30. I'll just flip you the calendar invite. Contrarian Coin. Andrew always has to have an opinion that's different from everybody else, so I look forward to my positive column this week. T-Rex Murphy. Always pining for a simpler time when fossil fuel could walk to market and men could go their own way. C'est important de ne pas oublier de remercier nos journalistes francophones pour leur travail. J'apprécie toujours ça quand vous me corrigez mon français. Mais cette année, en tant qu'ancien prof de français, vous savez que ça a été extrêmement satisfaisant de pouvoir apprendre c'était quoi un ostrogoth. Je suis l'invité de Guillaume Saint-Pierre ce soir, que je veux remercier pour tout ce qu'il fait en tant que président de la tribune de la presse. Mais bien sûr, avec la CAQ réélue au Québec, le travail va continuer d'être assez facile pour les journalistes québécois. Simplement me répéter les questions de François Legault. À Montréal, c'est le déménagement de la tour de Radio-Canada. Bon déménagement. Mais la coutume veut qu'on brûle de la sauge pour une nouvelle maison. Je n'ai pas de sauge, mais je vous envoie mes anciens Tintins. There's been a lot of hoopla around the new Conservative leader and a few rumors of my demise. But I've been around for a while now. I've learned how to handle enterprising Albertans who want my job. You know, I'm not doing all that bad when you consider it, although it's a low bar to have to outlast lettuce. 10 Downing Street will have had 5 occupants in 6 years. Stornoway has had 4. 24 Sussex hasn't even had 1. But as I've said numerous times, I firmly intend to run in the next elections. And to prove it, I'll give you an early glimpse of our posters. And this time, we're going to play offense. I'm coming for you, Pierre. What is it with mullets tonight? Ce soir, je veux remercier tout le monde ici pour le travail incroyable et indispensable que vous faites. Merci de poser les questions difficiles, d'aller au fond des choses et de tenir les politiciens responsables de leurs actions et de leurs mots. On va toujours défendre la liberté de la presse ici au Canada et on va continuer notre travail pour la renforcer. Ces valeurs sont d'autant plus importantes dans un moment où la planète traverse une période tumultueuse. On voit des journalistes être persécutés par des régimes autoritaires comme la Russie, l'Iran et bien d'autres. Ce soir, on a l'occasion de souligner à nouveau le caractère essentiel de votre travail. When you look at history, every time a new communication medium has been introduced, it created change, good and bad. The invention of the printing press in the 1400s paved the way to the Enlightenment, but it also created a lot of religious disruption in Europe. The rise of fascism in the first half of the 20th century is intertwined with the emergence of mass media like film and radio, and today we're only beginning to understand how the internet and social media are changing the world. Your job as journalists and members of the press is more important than it's ever been. When people don't even agree on what's real or what's true, we need your journalistic rigor and integrity. When someone preaches that the earth is flat, we need journalists not only to debunk it, but to help us understand why someone would even believe it. Malgré tous leurs aspects positifs, l'Internet et les réseaux sociaux facilitent aussi la désinformation et la propagation de discours haineux. Je sais que beaucoup d'entre vous explorent les raccoins sombres de l'Internet dans le cadre de votre travail. By reporting on disinformation and hatred online, you are at the front lines. You deal with very real threats, especially to the still too few women and racialized journalists. So thank you for all your hard work, for your bravery, and for continuing to keep our governments accountable by asking the tough questions. Thank you for helping make our democracy stronger. Avant de terminer, je veux souligner les 8 ans aujourd'hui du tragique attentat terroriste au monument commémoratif de guerre du Canada et sur la colline du Parlement. 8 years ago today, Canadians were shocked by a tragic terrorist attack at the National War Memorial on Parliament Hill in Ottawa that took one life and injured several others. Many of you here tonight remember the tragedy all too well because you were rushing to the scene yourselves. We join Canadians across the country in paying tribute to Corporal Nathan Cirillo and to Warrant Officer Patrice Vincent, who was killed 2 days earlier in a separate attack in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec. Our thoughts are with their loved ones. As we pay tribute to these 2 fallen members of our Canadian Armed Forces today, I encourage everyone to show gratitude to all Canadians in uniform, past and present, for their selfless commitment to our country. Serving our country is never easy. Whether you're on the front lines and engaged as a military service person around the world, or whether you're fighting for democracy with a pen that is consistently mightier than the sword. Thank you for your service to this country. Thank you for dedicating yourselves every day to an ideal of a country to which we will always fall short, but hopefully, with your work, all of us on this side will continue to be on our toes and work very hard to create that country that we all serve together. Merci beaucoup.